I mean, how do I describe it? It's
bold,
a light,
black,
unapologetically black,
very funny, amusing,
caring,
you give great advice from a different perspective, passionate, free,
vulnerable,
a creative,
sexy.
My girl is lit as fuck.
Always ready to twerk a little something.
genuine, very genuine,
resilient,
like sixth sense, otherworldly. If you know, you know.
it's so vibrant, baby. Hello everyone, and welcome in. You are tuned into Soul Vibrant. I'm your host, the wonderful Lady AC. When you think of the word resistance, what often comes to your mind? Typically, people think of marches, protests, song and chants, call and response, grassroots movements, lobbying, organizing. But seldomly do we think of the concepts of love, fun, and joy. Today's episode will highlight a space that encapsulates all those aspects, proving history and knowledge never dies, but is simply waiting to be discovered and retold. This is Ode to Mack Miller Park, the joyful resistance. Be right back.
Whenever you feel like they're the one, whatever you do, let love go strong. And only be thinking in the way. Love a bit more each and every day. Oh, let them know. Hey, love them, love them, love them. Don't let go. Love them. Hold them close, hold them close, and love her when you know, don't let go. Love her when you know. Tell him you've got everything you need. Hey, and the pain's gone, let love succeed. Hey, got to be strong, keep moving on. Hey, they'll keep on loving you if you love, you keep on loving them. Hold them close, let them know, and love them, you know that. Don't let go. Love them. Hold it close. When you know. When you know. Don't let go. Love them. When you know. Baby. Hold them close. Let them know. Love them. Love them. Love them. Love them. You know. Don't let go. Okay. Love them. Hold them close. Love them. You know. Don't let go. Love them. When you know. Don't let go. Love her when you know. When you know. When you know. You love them.
And that was Rom featuring Emma V with Love 'Em.
Went to Mack Miller Park then.
Yeah.
And they started there. Woo,
Yeah, it was real nice.
people from everywhere, all out of Alabama.
It's a nice place. I'm saying I ain't had no more fun nowhere else in my whole entire life than Mack Miller Park.
And it was fantastic. It was a great time in life back then. We just didn't realize it at the time.
Talk folk, and they come from way down South Georgia. I saw them from Hamilton.
Uh-huh.
They remember Mack Miller Park.
Mack Miller Park was just the place to be.
Located half a mile north of Hamilton, Georgia, off of U.S. Highway 27. Mack Miller Park opened its gates in the fall of 1954.
My understanding, it was built by Mr. Casey Callaway for the people, for the black people in this community, which ended up being not only the black people in this community, but it was black people that came from all over Georgia, because after it opened, it became a recreational center really for all black people.
The 40-acre development included a swimming pool with a bathhouse, picnic and barbecue area, fishing pond, 2 swimming pools, and a baseball field that hosted local and regional games.
Do you remember what the price was?
50 cents or 75 cents. It wasn't a whole lot.
When it first started, it was just the summer. And then I think later on it would open on some weekends, maybe in early spring, in the fall. But it was when it first started, it was just summer.
It was worth coming to because it was so much freedom. And people would be sitting all around up on the hills and things on you, because you got the baseball field be sitting down in the middle, and then you got your dance floor here. So a lot of people watching the dance floor, then other people watching the baseball game, then you got everybody in the world in the pool. You know, so you got, I mean, it was all around, it was the best thing that I think would happen for black people.
It was real nice. We thought it was real nice because they had changing room, great big old changing room for the boys, a great big changing room for the girls, and some of the best, the music sound better at the park than it did anywhere.
Prior to its opening, Southern black folks didn't have much to look forward to outside of their homes, work, and church.
We really didn't have anything to do as a community except go to church. And at that time, the church that I attended only was having service once a month. And then my grandmama was a member of the Methodist church. I would go to her church once a month.
And I can't remember anything we really did up until that point, because we mostly just played around the house and did the little things that we do at home. But as far as being entertained or having fun or anything, there was nothing for us to do.
On the weekend, the only thing black had then was, like, say they come to your house. And my daddy, we had a big house sitting down there in front of the house with Tyson and Dad would cut hair. Dad be cutting hair, and all guys be around, they be selling liquor, you know. Sold liquor, that's where they had to make it.
Plenty of liquor
sold. And then you make kill a hog and barbecue that hog, you know, to raise money, because the black didn't have no good job. You see, didn't have no good job, and then you had to raise your children, and then all here where the house over there, all back, you know, Manure, going back that way, you could see nothing but corn and peas and cotton.
$50 was rough to buy somebody. You get your start. What people would do, what they did with my dad, how we had 4 or 5 guys in the neighborhood helped him build a house. Come over there on Saturday, every Saturday, and they'll work on it. Several people in the neighborhood, they'll come give you a hand. Some of them was carpenters and some of them was cobblers. Some of them handing stuff up to you. Some of them, one man be in charge, he know how to cut the house out, you know. See, if you're going to run the raffles, you got to know how to cut them. You hand the lumber, saw it, man, hand up there, chopping out with a hatchet and all that. But they built it, they dried it in. Me and my mama and my brother sealed it up later on ourselves. Some was out of level, but it kept the wind out. So did.
Like the rest of the South, Georgia also believed in the concept of separate but equal. However, the southern states were going through an interesting transition, as in 1952, Brown versus Board of Education was currently being deliberated in the Supreme Court.
It was okay. It just, you know, you had certain things that, you know, certain places you couldn't go. I mean, and certain things that, you know, like if you're going to buy something like that out of one of the little stores around here, you know, and then about a white, but then they're going to wait on them first.
Right.
And it was that kind of thing, but it would never, you know, I never did experience any really bad racial stuff. But you knew it was there. But, you know, everybody that did what they needed to do.
it was, everybody, we kept to ourselves and they kept to themselves, and they tried to make sure that we kept to ourselves. But it wasn't, as hard on me as it was on it's the ones before me and the ones who lived close into town, because the ones who could go to stores every day, they really got, they talked about how it was when you went in the store.
On May 17, 1954, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Brown, declaring that United States law establishing racial segregation in public schools was unconstitutional, even if the segregated schools was otherwise equal in quality. The Supreme Court's decision caused heavy reaction for all citizens of the state, from radio topics, newspapers, and television interviews, to the courts of public opinion and politics. Segregation was the top issue and concern.
Well, since I didn't live right in the city, we lived kind of out in the country. We knew it was segregated, but we didn't feel it as much as the ones who lived right in town and who could go to stores every day, because very seldom did we even go to the stores. But when we used to ride the bus to Columbus, there was a bathroom over in the courthouse that people had to go. They could go in the courthouse and use it. And then they finally opened one. It was a round back in the basement kind of, that had colored on it. And we could go use that if we needed to. And I know the water fountains were marked colored or white. And I never could understand that, because the same water was coming out.
The state of Georgia was determined to maintain its stance on segregation. According to the Harris County Journal, just 3 days after the Supreme Court's decision, the then Lieutenant Governor Mavis Griffin was reported saying, "As long as I am your public servant, I will maintain segregation in the schools of this state, and the races will not mix come hell or high water."
And we couldn't vote.
Yeah.
You couldn't vote, and then they just tore it down where the two things were.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, and you remember they had a thing on the right side and a thing on the left side.
Right.
On the left side, that's where the white folk go in at. And on the right side, that's where the blacks go in at. Have different office, you go in and sit.
Yeah.
You see, and everything. And my mama lived with babies there all through the 50s and early 60s. My mama lived with babies, and you could go in there, she'd live with baby and everything. The doctor come in, he'll examine you and the baby, and you go home. My mama doing all the work.
According to the Harris County Journal, in August 19, 1954, the Callaway Foundation, in partnership with the Negro Betterment Association, invested $27,000 to fund the building of a Negro Park in Harris County, Georgia. After a series of discussions, negotiations, planning, money, and investments, this park later became Mack Miller Park.
There was a gentleman that was really over that part of the property area. Was a white man named Skinny Williams that was responsible for the property, from my understanding.
I think that's what mainly opened up Mack Miller Park for the black people won't go and mix with the white people.
Because during that time, Callaway Gardens
was a big thing. It wasn't enough for black people to go.
Okay.
And so in order to keep them from going up there, eventually, if they hadn't put a park down for black, then they were going to get in there.
Yeah.
It was going to be too much trouble trying to keep them out.
Okay.
So that's when they created a park for us. And everybody, they didn't, and then you couldn't afford to go because the prices was high.
Right.
Back then you didn't have that kind of money to go. They had it high enough when you couldn't pay your way in there.
Right.
One person might could, but you got a whole family. All y'all can pay all that money because we wasn't making that much money back then.
Some buses would come and mistake that place for Mack Miller Park and would try to go in there.
Yeah.
But once they saw that you were black, they would turn away. They turned away all blacks on you. Once you got to the gate, they would not let you go in.
When the park came, we thought we had arrived because people from all over were coming to Mack Miller Park.
We used to have school days called May Day. All the kids from different schools, from Tarleton, all around, even Muscogee County, kids came up there on that particular Saturday.
Then the Greyhound buses come from Atlanta, West Point, Phoenix City, school buses, Warner Robins. They come from everywhere when school was out. If you didn't have no girlfriend, you got a chance to look at a heap of somebody else's girlfriend. But there was a heap of them over there.
Mr. Theodore Bowen, who was managing Mack Miller Park.
And he also taught Sunday school at Friendship at one time, and he was an educator. I believe he was the principal at Thomas Elementary in Catawba.
Mr. Bowen was a principal. He was my principal in Catawba at Thomas Elementary. We had to build 5 schools in 1953. Brick schools. 4 of them still standing. Carver, Miller School, the original Carver, over there where I graduate. 1 in Whitesville, 1 in Pine Mountain, 1 in Catawba, 1 in Waverly Hall. But they tore the one down in Waverly Hall. They got a park down there now. It's Laney Park.
His house was right there at the park.
He lived on the premises.
Yeah.
Because they had a house up
They
there
said
for him.
somebody told me it was like a brown house, like that, kind of off. Okay.
It's set up on the hill, right above where the park was laid out at.
Mm-hmm.
He lived in that house. Him and his family lived there for many years. I don't know exactly how many years, but they lived there for many years until he was no longer. I think when he left, there was no other manager. I think they was getting ready to close it up.
And his wife was also an educator, and they had 2 children. He also helped start that nursing home in Waverly Hall.
So he was also well known in the community. It just made a great choice for him to be in that park and invested.
Mm-hmm. He always seemed to be a nice person.
Did he patrol a lot, or was it just kind of like observing, make sure everything was running smoothly?
He would come through, and he'd go in all areas, just walking through, and then a lot of times he'd just sit and talk with the other men who were there.
We did get in trouble, Mr. Bowen. He always handled it.
Right.
He knew he was good enough, strong enough to handle any kind of miscommunications or misunderstandings between people.
Mm-hmm.
Then he kept us in line.
Right.
Because if we went in there, we knew how we were gonna have to act.
So he was a friendly man.
So that was just like going to Hollywood, because that we didn't have any other recreation or any other activity besides being at school at a basketball game, and it was predominantly black.
Mm-hmm.
So going over there and you meet a whole lot of different people from a whole lot of different areas. So it was just like a hometown. It was the best thing that was going around.
I had a good time. That's why I learned how to swim.
Really?
Swim at Mack Miller Park.
The lifeguards that was there when they first opened it, they started out giving swimming lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us young boys that was around here in this area, we took swimming lessons. That's how we learned how to swim.
We didn't have a car at that time, so we had to walk. We had to come out to the highway and walk. And we lived about a mile from coming to the highway.
Yeah.
We walked that mile and then have to turn and go back to the park.
Caught the bus and got off at the park, picked up paper. The park opened at 10. We picked up paper that got up all the trash. And we made $5. So you don't supposed to get back in the water after you eat. We did it all day long, ate the whole $5 up, and like they had to walk back with every evening. We didn't have no car. We hitchhiked, walked to 208. Somebody picked you up, either caught a ride to 208, then walked from 208 to Catawba. A lot of times, there's a lot of stuff going on over there.
To me, it was exciting because it was so many different things that you were able to do while you were there. It was just such an enjoyment to go to watch the ball game. They were so competitive. We enjoyed, the sports and the swimming. the concession stand, the picnic area. It was a wonderful place to go. It wasn't boring or anything like that because there was something always to do.
Just as intriguing as the history of the park's creation, so is the individual that the park is named after.
I used to hear my mom talking about Mr. Mack Miller because her mom and Mr. Mack Miller's mom, I think, was sisters.
Mack Miller and my mother's father was brothers.
They said that he was one of the richest black men in the county.
The reason they named the park after him is because he was one of the first black businessmen here in Hamilton.
Mack Charles Miller was born to formerly enslaved farmers on September 14, 1886. It was in farming that Miller learned self-sufficiency, community, and importance of ownership.
From what my mama told me, he had a mind for business, and he was able to work at that time.
Due to his light complexion, Miller took advantage of the opportunities to educate himself in business communications and management.
He was a deacon at Friendship, and he helped design those rainbow steps at Friendship.
Heavily involved in the church, Miller believed that faith could get him through anything, and that God did not design the Negro to be second class, but be just as successful as anyone.
On that same street, he had his home house, and then 2 rental houses that he had.
Oh, the house we bought, your auntie Lyra May bought, the lumber. And when we tore the old part out the house and remodeled it inside the walls, back then, if you took some trees to the sawmill, get them sawed up into lumber, and they had full 2x4, full 2x8, full 2x10, and they put your name on the lumber. Mack Miller's name was inside the lumber on the house we stayed in.
Miller understood the importance of community and helping his people by stating, "There's a specific duty God created in you to fulfill his will, and the greatest disservice is not doing so."
He built and operated the Hamilton Funeral Home. They're on Miller Lane. They named the street after him. He started the insurance company called United Home Circle that was connected with the funeral home.
Much it work like death insurance, basically.
Death insurance,
okay.
Yeah. Pay for your burial and stuff when you passed away for those people who had been paying into it.
Even as he sold insurance, he would help others who couldn't read or write or legally understand the obligations and ensured the power in their ownership in their property.
He spoke up for the black people to try to get them better educated and a better life here in Hamilton, which was hard at that time because if you didn't own no property here, you didn't have really no rights here.
Mack Miller Park provided a sense of normalcy in the separated but equal state.
Well, I worked there in a number of capacities. First worked there in the concession stand.
Yeah, but they used to have some good food. I remember everybody loved their ice cream. I used to go up to the little booth and ask for some ice cream.
And do you remember the banana split? You remember the banana split? Now that was good.
No.
The banana split was.
The banana split.
Banana split?
Yeah, they were good.
Really?
Cherry on top of.
Okay, I can't remember that.
Your Bible waking up that thing. I haven't had that good since.
Growing up, I used to hear you talking about them milkshakes. You know? Yeah, they have the ice cream. They have some great. That's a good food. They have some the hamburgers. The ice cream corn was just. It was that when you don't go anywhere, and this is the only place you can get this at. Right. It was just like, oh, we don't stepped up a little bit, And the food was really good. They had good hamburgers, hot dogs, French fries. They had milkshakes, and they made the milkshake was so good. Woo. They have some good stuff down there.
We used to have to grind all the ice for the concession stand.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't really buy ice.
So
ice would come then in blocks.
Yeah.
And we had to ship that block up
Ooh.
into a quarter.
Uh-huh.
You know, you get a 100-pound block, and you chip that block off. You chip a quarter square off of it, and put it in a grinder. And then you had to grind that. You had to grind that ice. That's where all the concession ice came from.
Back a little better, because then on the busy day,
we had a lot of ice.
I had a lot of ice.
Yes.
Remember in 60 days, the ice cream cone.
My
Everybody.
sister used to wet down the pool. You know, I can't remember. But Joe.
Did she?
But Joe said she used to work in the concession stand.
Oh, I don't remember that.
She said she used to walk up there. She had a job, but that she used to walk all the way down to our house up there. Can you imagine that?
I hear when the granddaddy let her walk up there.
Walk. That's a long walk.
That's a long
walk. But she told me, she talked about it now, said she used to walk up there because she had a job in the concession stand.
No.
I can't remember that.
Then I later went on to be one of the assistant lifeguards, really. Probably did about 2 summers. It was a lot to learn, just being a lifeguard. We would go through the lifeguard training. You had to become you had to get to be an intermediate swimmer. You had to go through 2-3 stages. Yeah. Most of it you had to swim laps of the pool. You had to be able to stay in the pool so long. You had to be able to tread water so long. You had to know how to get people out of the water. If they were drowning, you had to, because if you didn't know how to do that, they could drown you as well as you trying to get them out. So you had to learn how to do all of that. You was either a junior lifeguard or a senior lifeguard or instructor to get we got patches at that time that you wore on your trunk that said what you was.
Back there then, we had 4 lifeguards that came out of LaGrange. One was Gwen Page, and he was the head lifeguard there. And we had one lifeguard came out of Columbus. They call him Big Bird, and he had his brothers and 2 more guys that was lifeguard. What they did, they with the young folks down there, we had like a swimming meet. He would practice and train us to swim, and we would go to LaGrange at a swim meet. And then they would come in. It was just like a regular field day. And so we did that.
Well, they actually had 3 areas to dance: floor and a dance stand on one side of the pool, and then they had another one on the other side of the pool, and they both had jukeboxes. So we used to dance to the music on the jukebox. And they later had a jukebox down in the wooded area when you first went into the wooded area, down by the concession stand. And on a busy day, people would fill up all 3 of those places, just dancing. Just dancing and having a good time.
Oh, I call it back in the day. So it was the music was like really a swing dance, like back then it's all similar to the same dances we do now, but it was just slower. And we did like the stroll, like they got the line dance now. We call it the stroll back in the day. And so it was just a kick thing, walk back, it's the same thing. It was just on different levels.
Then when they had to ride your pony, something like Soul Train. But if you could dance, you didn't have to dance. You just follow the lead and go all the way around the dance floor was longer than the house and wider too.
They had jukebox, the get down, old time.
Old time. Your mama probably can tell you about the old time music. That was some good music. But they be out there under that little shed, they be dancing.
They played soul music. Not this stuff y'all listen to nowadays, though, but it was music that had meaning.
And we had like Johnny Taylor music, and we had like B.B. King and all, and it was just the Temptations, and it was just a variety of old school music, back in the day music. Mostly blues,
Those that didn't dance, they swim
Well, I couldn't swim.
Okay.
And I really couldn't dance, but I enjoyed the music.
Okay.
We knew so many of the people that was there, but some we didn't know, so that was good too. So we got to mingle with people that, we didn't know, and that was a good thing.
See cousins that we hadn't seen all week, especially in the summer. And some of the friends from school we hadn't seen all week. We'd meet at the park on the weekend.
Some Saturdays or some events they have like horseback ride, and they bring the horses over there and they pay. I forgot how much, but little nothing to ride the horses.
Yeah.
But they had it like down in a section down in the woods, and they had all kinds of picnic tables where and then they had grills where you could cook out if you want to, and it was a lot of families that that came, because really that was the only place we had to go, but we had people come from everywhere.
It was just a fellowship, and it wasn't just for children either. A lot of adults went. They would go and sit in the shade and watch the children play and watch children in the swimming pool. They'd come and watch the baseball games. So a lot of grown-ups enjoyed it too.
People came, they came to swim. And those that didn't swim on the weekend, they would watch the ball game. We had a baseball team.
So was the baseball team part of the park, or was it like for like the local area too?
It was part of the park.
Okay.
Because they played for Mack. That team, I can't remember exactly what the team was named, but it was strictly for the park. They had kind of a connection with some of the black baseball teams in the area.
They had a baseball team, Columbus All-Stars, out of Columbus. Hamilton had a team too. Mr. Bowen, the man ran the park, he saw more interest in the people out of Columbus because they went and got them some uniforms. They made the first step. But the one from Hamilton, they didn't want to buy nothing. That man out of Columbus, Richard Street, came up there and presented his team to Mr. Bowen. He accepted them. So that was their home team. Then you had the Invaders out of Phoenix City. A couple of them guys could have went pro.
And the baseball stadium would be packed, jam-packed with grown folks and everything.
I was a baseball player that played several games at Mack Miller Park. Can't remember the name of the team right now, but it was something. All those people packed in, cheering and hollering, good time. Playing wise, I did all right. It was more about the sport than the points for me. Played with some good men, almost like a brotherhood, just laughing and showing off our skill. Hell, some of my teammates could have went pro until life got a hold of them. But yeah, that was a game for everybody. I even remember this girl I was courting played on the softball team there. Most of us players were hard-working men. I mean, we worked in the plants, mills, farmed, and as such. Baseball kept our dream alive. For a colored man, Negro, what have you, weren't many things that gave you hope or a chance to dream. Playing on the field gave us something. It was fun. It was freedom, like a child.
Yeah, I played basketball.
You played up there with them? Yeah,
I played.
So was it like on teams or like leagues?
And like when folks.
But they weren't getting paid for it. They were just going up there. They play baseball.
When people come from Alabama, different parts of Georgia, then they have a baseball team come in and play against different teams, you see, and whatnot. But now they had some guys back then, and had it been like it is now, here a lot of pro would come out of Harris County. You see, because they had one guy in Catawba was named Benny Grigg and Alan Grigg. Florida lead nobody. Benny Grigg, Alan Grigg, and Bill Howard. There were three guys. And now them guys could be out there, and one in left field, one in right field, and one in center. And they'd be at Mack Miller Park playing baseball. And you knock a ball coming out to center field or right field. The guy over in left field, he was so fast, he'd come on through there and pick it up. They're just that fast and that good. And one of the guys from Catawba, Alan Green, he had won he was going for championship, play baseball, and he had his dad, got his paper and everything.
Yeah.
And he got to drinking liquor, walk around on First Avenue, showing his paper, and they went on and inspired on him. The liquor ball took advantage of it. Yeah.
There were other black teams that would come up and play on Sunday, and then they had, sometimes they played themselves.
Energized place to go. You just go and sit. If you didn't want them to sit down up under the stand there where they were dancing, there you can sit. They had rocking chairs and everything, little rocker. You can sit down and watch the dance, or you can sit on the other side and watch the game. But the game was like down there. It was just a piece, and it wasn't really rowdy or anything. We didn't do all that, but they do today. Yeah. They didn't do. They might have had a few people might have got a little agitated, might have got a little drunk, but otherwise that it wasn't nothing but a people, and they were quickly hooked up, and they would stop. It wasn't nobody throwing no rocks or nobody pulling no guns. Well, none of that never happened over there.
But then my brother found a shortcut to the park, going the back way, and that was where your grandmama named Leah would come through the woods and just come on in and start playing.
Back of our houses here, there was a path that we had made over the years that went straight into the back of the park. We went through that path, especially when we didn't have no money.
Right.
Yeah, and we didn't have the money to pay to get in, and that's the way we went in.
They had one man walking around trying to catch you coming in, Mr. Frank Sherman from Catawba. He was working on that post security. He couldn't be everywhere, same place, same time. Folks watching him, he easy and then walk around. They had lights down in the woods. He stay over there, the dog.
Your grandmama and a bunch of us used to walk through from Park Elementary School, that road go in the back through there. We used to, that was you had a fence down there.
Yeah.
Had a fence down there and everything. You had to go in through the front to get in and pay to come in. But we used to slip in through that way. You see, we could walk back through there into by Carver School. Right. You know where the gym is back there now. We used to walk right on through there all the time. You see. But my brother and them, they would slip that liquor in there and sell that liquor and stuff. And then there's somebody that be walking and go and tell on them, and the police come in. And me and my brother, we'd be sitting up there watching baseball. We wasn't playing baseball, we'd be watching and see the police come in. We let my brother and them know that the police coming in. Everybody was
y'all the lookouts.
Yeah, we were the lookouts. But everybody was together back then.
But a lot of times, the man who's at the gate would walk down through the pavilion. He said, "Y'all didn't come through the gate. Y'all got to come up here and pay." And he'd line us all up and march us up to the highway to that little booth and make us pay it. Well, it probably been about a quarter or 50 cents or something. Okay. But he'd march us up there and make us pay. We thought we had gotten away with something.
But either way, that didn't stop you from enjoying. Yeah.
We enjoyed being there.
And across the creek, you go up a hill that we call Blueberry Hill.
They come all in Atlanta and everywhere else. They know what Blueberry Hill was. they didn't go swimming when they first got down there. They went on down through there by where the concession stand was, cross that break and come on up that hill, and you be right back there then. Someone go out through there, make them a pallet. They didn't get suntan. We go there. They were getting down.
My cousin, Sarita was older than me. I had a cousin, Linda Pitt. You know Linda Pitts? And I would be with Linda Pitt down there. I see them going up the hill when they let me. I go halfway up. I remember that ditch. Oh, did you? I'm going up the hill. I remember one time we were there. Linda Pitt, I was with Linda. Linda went up the hill. I went up here calling, Linda! Linda looked at me, get back down the hill, get back. And if they wasn't up that hill, it used to be a swing way over there in the back. In the bushes. And that's what they'll be at too. It's a swing way back there in them bushes.
I remember when I got my first kiss at Mack Miller Park. Child, I was messing with some little boy I shouldn't have, but I thought I was in love, girl. We went on up to Blueberry Hill and followed the little lights they had, strung up there in the middle of the park. near a jukebox. He propped me up near a pole or something or another and stroked my face, then leaned in. All kinds of thoughts ran through my head, mostly hoping my rouge wasn't too much. Then I felt the lips touch his, and woo child, I felt like a woman. If I knew then what I knows now, I wouldn't have gave that joker much credit. But at the time, that kiss meant everything to me. Still does, hell.
I keep hearing about that Blueberry Hill. What's the explain for the folks what is the Blueberry Hill? Blueberry Hill is like if you put it like you sneaking off to be with your boyfriend. Okay. That's exactly what it was. Okay. And you see a lot of couples go there, they sitting and talk. You get chance to spend time with your friends. Right. And they call it Blueberry Hill because everybody spread it out like blueberries. You got a couple here and a couple there, and then sometimes people just up that city. Sometimes they have the picnic, up in there. But most of the time it was like a couple back,
That's where a lot of older kids went and made out.
He said it did, body. And why y'all couldn't go on the hill?
I hope they won't let us go up there and see them panky. And we wasn't going there. Y'all going to let them dead folk.
Yeah, go up there.
Yeah, that's how they scared us from going up.
Like the little kids and stuff. Okay.
I think my age, I remember being younger.
Okay.
Back in the day, your folks didn't allow you to be with no guys, no boys, like they is now. Right. You had to almost sneak and talk to these guys and make sure you got your mom. They ain't watching you up on Blueberry Hill because you supposed to be somewhere else. But you up there talking to this boy, Right. You get you to do a lot of, it was quite interesting.
As the park grew in popularity, it began to attract celebrity attention, such as Rudy Rutherford of Rockin with the Deuce. Rutherford was the first African American in the South to host a television show, which aired on WTVM in 1958.
Deuce and I were real good friends. He had a son, two sons really, that got into radio. He came from up in New Jersey, where they originated from. And he was just something real nice, and he had a smooth voice. And Deuce would have a little thing back in the day that you could write to him and request songs. Okay. So he did a lot of that, and he'd start off the evening show by saying, "We got a bale of mail." And then he goes down the list of the different people who wrote to him and asked for different songs.
He would come up there on Saturday about 1 or 2 o'clock.
And DJ there too.
He was on the air Monday through Friday. Okay. And on Saturday, he had a group of young fellows called Rockin with the Deuce, the Deuce Dancers. Right. They would be some guys who used to dance. One of them was named Curtis Jackson, Herman Jacobs, Philip Nelson. He was a real tall guy. And they all got together. They used to go and do record hops back in those days. Yeah. And then they used to go down to different places. And a record hop, is, as you know, is you take your PA system and your records, and you go down to the school and have a good time with the kids, and they dance and just enjoy it and had a good time.
Rockin with the Deuce. He had what they call the Deuce dancers. You could go to Columbus there Saturday morning and dance on TV.
The common nickname I heard growing up was, they were the Black American Bandstand.
It was.
For
way
especially
before American Bandstand started.
Yeah.
Or Soul Train. Rockin with the Deuce was a Saturday morning program It came on from 9 until 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. Back in the day, it was Channel 28, or when they eventually changed to Channel 9, it was on WTVM. And the Deuce, Rudy Rutherford, was the MC of Rockin' with the Deuce. And what he would do, he was a celebrity with us. He used to be on from 3 until 6 in the afternoon sometimes. He'd come on and he'd look-a-poo and how you do, and later gator, got a split, gotta go, yeah, and those kind of raps he brought to the city back in those days.
Most of the dancing we did up there was from that TV show. And those guys, they had a bunch of guys that had a little group of dancers that danced on TV every Saturday morning. And there were times that they would come up to Mack Miller Park and they would dance.
We would go out and pull guys or girls or whatever to the stage, and we sing to them and stuff. And, like Out of Sight with James Brown, and Try Me with James Brown. Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, I Feel Good. All those songs that were historic songs back in those days. They'll make you get up and dance.
Was the crowd like this?
Packed. Real packed.
Yeah.
Then we would play the hit songs back in the day, like in the 60s. The Monkey Time by Major Lance. We did The Impressions. Impressions is I'm just Will Winner. Will Winner back in those days. Keep on Pushing, The Impressions. For Your Precious Love, Jerry Butler. And we did a lot of those kind of songs. We did a lot of hip hop songs. The hit songs was back in the day, like Johnny Taylor.
Okay.
Who's Making Love to Your Old Lady while you out making love. Jody Got Your Girl and Gone. Ain't no sense of going home. Go home, take on your love bones. And a lot of those songs that were 60s going into the early 70s were those smooth soul songs that you can't get anymore now.
But just as it grew in popularity, the park also created a stir of controversy as well.
In 1964, the blacks decided, not the local blacks, blacks from Atlanta and everything decided they wanted to go to Callaway Gardens. They wanted to go to the beach at Callaway Gardens. Girl, it ain't never been that many helicopters with state patrol there to meet the blacks that was trying to get in. And nobody talk about it though. But it happened.
I imagine it happened more than once, not just once. I imagine it happened because there were some buses that came out of Atlanta. They probably really didn't know the area.
Yeah.
And stopped at the first place that they saw people. And a big, big recreation area. But you were turned away. There wasn't no doubt about that. If you tried to enter, you was going to be turned away. Yeah. And we're not going to let you in now.
Like, not at all.
Got where a lot of the white people was going to start coming over there because they were using they liked the pool, and they had a lot of room for them to stretch out on that to be hot because like we got our up there where we had the parking lot at, that hill there was like run from all the way down from the pool all the way up to the road, and it was like a bank. And you could lay on that bank up there all the way around. I mean, you could do it all the way around the ball field. And you could really just sit up there and fish. They want to get one up, I mean, that's what they did, They got her. I guess they figured they keep all that from starting because some of them couldn't really afford to go up there.
The mission to Mack Miller Park during the week was a dime. And on Saturday and Sunday, it was a quarter of 50 and 50 cents, depending on your age. The price was $3 or $4 higher at Callaway at the beach. And that was the reason they closed it, because the white kids started coming out. Mack Miller Park was to keep them separated, the whites from the blacks.
Occurrences like these proved that integration was inevitable, and towards the 1970s, Callaway Gardens officially integrated.
Mack Miller Park really kind of died out.
Okay.
After they started allowing the black people to go into the beach, because some of the buses then that was coming from Atlanta would go to the beach. It was much bigger.
Yeah.
There was much more going on. You know, because by going to the beach, you had access to the whole garden.
You know, people got excited about being able to go to Callaway, and even though it was more expensive to get in, it was just the thought that, you know, black people were finally able to go into Callaway.
We have this access.
Kind of neglected Mack Miller Park, and it just finally closed.
As a result, by 1978, Mack Miller Park officially closed.
How did you feel when you found out the park was closing or it closed?
I was devastated, you know, and I was so devastated until you know, to the point, you know, I never did go to Callaway Garden. I never have been there, you know, and, you know, I just, you know, felt like that had a lot to do with it. And, we, you know, we could have gone up there, but, you know, I enjoyed that a lot more, you know, Mack Miller Park.
It was kind of, well, bittersweet, I guess. It closed up, but then you had the opportunity to go to the beach.
Hated it because they couldn't afford to go to, still couldn't afford to go to Callaway Garden. That's the purpose of Callaway and them building Mack Miller Park, because the blacks could afford to go up there. They started trying to build a park in Whiteford, but they didn't go nowhere. They didn't get off the ground. Man, black man tried to put one out there. That's the only reason that one got there on account of Callaway.
I really hated it because it was always a nice place to go to without any trouble. It was just, you could sit and be in the cool, you could get you something to drink, you can get you something to eat, you could watch a good ball game. I mean, they had some good games over there. And they had a lot of you get a chance to meet a lot of different people, because there was a lot of soldiers from Fort Benning was up there. And they had baseball teams there too. So they would come there. You get a chance to meet all kind of different people. Because it was like Puerto Ricans and people from everywhere that was in Fort Benning, and you got a chance to meet different. You know, because it's only black up here, but you got to meet all kind of people.
Well, I was kind of sad because I would have liked for my children to experience it, but unfortunately they didn't get a chance to do that.
Well, those of us who really connected to it, hated that it closed, because at that time they needed the school, a place to build a school.
And by the 1980s, Park Elementary, that once was Mack Miller Park, open to all students of the area.
Most of the land is still there.
Yeah.
Because where they built the school, from the front of the school to where the back of the school was only about half of that front property there. Because if you go in there now, you can still see where the baseball field was.
Right.
And you can still see where the pool area was. Only they covered it in. But that building over there was the bathhouse. That's still there.
I think that it should have been some kind of recognition somewhere to say about Mack Miller Park and the history of Mack Miller Park. It should have been some kind of thing put somewhere, you know, like they do all the historic things. So that I think it should have been a historic thing done for Mack Miller Park, because it was set for the black people, and that's history. Don't you think?
Oh no, I thank you.
Agree completely.
Absolutely. Time has passed since the times of Mack Miller Park, but patrons reflect on the legacy and the importance and history that the park leaves behind in their hearts as well as the land of the county?
It was a good place for blacks, and you had to be there. You had to be there.
Yeah. To really get how that felt.
How it felt. Yeah. Our whole life would light up when we start talking about it, cause we were there together. It had a big influence, a big influence on it.
Well, it was like something of ours, you know. It was something, you know, that I could relate to so much better, you know. And but I guess it was okay up there too. But I just enjoyed that because it was just like history, you know. That was a part of us.
A lot of us as young men, and it kept us from getting in trouble. Because I guess we took all of our frustrations out at Mack Miller Park, jumping in the pool or whatever. But it saved us, and it gave us something to do. Well, we, you know, like a lot of these kids now, they walk in the street, they ain't got nothing to do.
Right.
But we had something to do, and it was all at Mack Miller Park.
Yeah, and it really, I wish it hadn't never closed. Yeah. Because it's a place that I would always want to go. And I mean, everybody it seemed to enjoy it. They had something, a little something for everybody.
It represented to me family time.
Okay.
Family time and getting away from the house and the family as a group, as a whole, going to the park. And I remember seeing the smiles and the laughter and the dancing. And it was just a good time.
That's history. It's good. It's good black history.
Well, so little is known about black history in Harris County. It just, I mean, nobody seemed to have recorded anything. And if any pictures were taken, they magically disappeared. And even at the courthouse, where records are supposed to be kept, I don't think there are any records about the opening of the park or the closing. So it just didn't seem like it was important then, but I think it's important for young people to know that we did have something to do way back then.
Because a lot of that stuff go unnoticed, and it's very important that, you know, we know what our ancestors or forefather has done, you know, before us, you know, and so we can pass it on to the younger generation. Because there's a lot of history has gone on that, you know, we know very little about.
It was a new outlet for us to show the skills and the different ideas that we had back in those days. That allows you to express yourself with your creative ability, but they also had style with it. You had emotions, but we never let our emotions get to the point where we would shame ourselves or our family or what we were doing at the time. We just wanted to have fun. And that's what it was all about. Just having fun.
I'm fortunate, like, you know, to have grandma and them talk about it a lot. You know, their experience of, like, I grew up hearing about it. But what do you think stopped, like, a lot of people from sharing that and keeping it or documenting about the park?
Well, like I said, nobody probably didn't think it would ever come up in history. Like a lot of our history, a lot of our black history, very little of it ever get told. Yeah. Because nobody kept up with it, even in our families. You know, a lot of things that happened in our families. Nobody thought to write that down.
It need to be told. It need to be told. The older blacks don't talk about this because they just kept it up under the rug. But
why you think that is?
Huh?
Why you think that is? They just kept it. They don't.
It's just like now. It's right now. Y'all don't go to the meeting. Nobody goes to the council meeting. No blacks goes to the council meeting. And it all because when they did try to go, they were told that they word didn't mean a damn thing. So now they don't even bother about it. Once you know your history, you won't repeat it, let it happen again.
Right.
Nobody is born prejudiced. Nobody is.
Right.
This is learned. This is stuff that we learn. We learned this from our foreparents. And it's time for us to get out. It's time for us to break away from tradition.
Even before the park became what it was, Mack Miller had passed away. But in your opinion, if he had lived to see the park, what do you think he would have thought of it?
I believe he would have did something that kept it up. Even if they built the school there, you could have still kept the baseball field, picnic area. You got what I'm saying? And they have a nice sex stand there. See, what have you. So you find a place like that, they keep it alive. Keep it going and let it grow.
I think he would have been proud of the park because it represented mostly him as a black man. Yeah. And then all of his people, you know, he was kin to a lot of people, and they were using the park. And so that was the thing that gave some people, you know, that was coming to the park ideas about what kind of life they might want to be.
He loved to see black people do anything in this little town. He tried so hard, from my understanding of what Mama and them said, he tried so hard to do stuff for the black people.
With his influence and his finances, he probably would have made it even better than it was. Because, you know, for us, it was a big thing to have concession stands and a swimming pool and a pavilion and fields to play sports. He probably would have made it even greater than that.
I can truly say that I think everyone that went there had a great experience there. One that, you know, that they will remember forever. You know, that's the memories that they had got when they were going there is something that, you know, they will remember forever.
Some days I lose my way. Maybe I'll break the mold to move around. Find there's nothing to say. I regulate, go pray. I find the solving. Another me is wanted. Maybe with a 1, 2, 3, I'll like the way that I. Maybe with a 1, 2, 3, won't fight the way that I. Found out we've been rolling. Take it all back. Found out we've been rolling. Take it all back. Found out we've been rolling. Take it all back. Found out we've been rolling. Take it all back. Take it all back. Sometimes it get like that. You're burning, I fight it. My only nemesis, mistake, I'm better off high. You're lonely, I like it. Well, maybe I'm lying. Better off when I cruise. And maybe if I'm 1, 2, 3, I'll like the way that I. Maybe with a 1, 2, 3, won't fight the way that I. Found out we've been rolling. Take it all back. Found out we've been rolling. Take it all back. Found out we've been rolling. Take it all back. Found out we've been rolling. Take it all back. 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 Found out we've been rolling. Take it all back. Take it all back. Take it all back. So take out like rolling back. Take it all back. Found out way. Take it all back. Take it all back. Take it all back, back. Take it all back. Take it all back, back. Take it back. Rolling.
And that was Gita with Rolling. My genuine hope is that by the end of this episode, you leave with not only the knowledge of knowing this history and understanding its importance, but also how important and beneficial it is for us to pass down this information, which ultimately empowers us, motivates us, and instills in us the greatness to persevere within not only ourselves, our communities, but in the world at large. If you would like to connect with me, on Facebook.com, it is Queen Lady AC. On Instagram, it is _ I am Lady AC. And on Twitter, or X, and TikTok, it is I am Lady AC. Until next week, y'all. Signing off.